Hi everybody, quick reminder, don't forget to check out the on-screen end cards towards the end of the video, as well as the merch shelf and links down in the description below to explore my new Outcast comic book series. And I just have to say that I genuinely appreciate all of the support that's been shown for this new adventure. Now, of course, I hope you're having a great day, and let's dive in to Comet Man. He made his first appearance in the self-titled Comet Man, issue number 1, that was released in February of 1986. His real name is Stephen Beckley, and he's a former NASA astronaut turned cosmic superhero who stands 6 feet 1 inch tall and weighs 190 pounds, having blue eyes and brown hair. Now, Comet Man is a Marvel Comics character whose story, while brief, is a dense and tragic exploration of family, loss, and the corrupting influence of power. His first appearances in Comet Man were actually a limited 6-issue series, although he has shared guest appearances with heavy hitters like the Fantastic Four, the Hulk, Captain America, Spider-Man, Wolverine, and Captain Marvel. Nevertheless, he remains one of Marvel's most obscure cosmic heroes. Now, Dr. Stephen Beckley was a brilliant astronomer, physicist, and astronaut. While piloting a mission for a joint NASA-MIT project to observe Halley's comet, his ship was unexpectedly destroyed by the comet's tail. However, what Earth believed to be Halley's comet was in fact a massive starship disguised by an alien named Max of the Fortisquian race. Max, whose people claim to have seeded life on Earth a millennia ago, felt remorse for accidentally taking out Beckley, and he used his ship's advanced technology to reconstitute Beckley's body molecule by molecule. This resurrection process, calibrated for Max's own species, imbued Stephen with a vast array of physical and mostly psionic abilities. And Stephen would then return to Earth, now a superhero, to find his old life in ruins. Now, Comet Man's powers are incredibly potent, with his primary abilities including teleportation, being able to teleport himself and others over vast interstellar distances, and while initially this power was subconscious, activating only in moments of extreme danger, he would later gain conscious control with the help of the psi amplifier device created by Reed Richards. Comet Man also has psionic blasts, being able to project powerful beams of concussive psionic energy, which ties into his telekinesis, which he uses to fly at vast superhuman speeds, create protective force fields, and levitate objects. Interestingly, Comet Man can also do what's called thought pitching, which is one of his most unique powers, and this allows him to project his consciousness into the minds of other beings, human or animal, to read their memories, experience their senses, and influence their behavior. In addition to these psionic abilities, his physicality has been greatly increased as well, which grants him low-level moderate superhuman strength, low-level increased durability, and a moderate healing factor, which allows him to survive injuries and the harsh vacuum of space unaided. Now, most of Comet Man's narrative is defined by his conflict with the clandestine organization known as the Bridge, as well as, intriguingly, his own family. After being transformed in space and returning to the Earth, Beckley was hunted by the Bridge, a secret agency obsessed with capturing and weaponizing his new powers. He would seek help from his old friend David Hilbert, only to discover Hilbert was an agent of the Bridge. But we'd later learn that the true antagonist, which was revealed to be the leader of the Bridge, was the Superior, who was actually John Gallagher, Stephen's long-lost illegitimate brother. Being embittered by their father's rejection, the Superior had orchestrated a long-burning revenge plot against the Beckley family. In his quest to capture Stephen, the Superior kidnapped Beckley's wife, Anne, and his young son named Bennett, aka Benny. Tragically though, during a failed escape attempt, Anne was killed. Eventually, the trauma and experimentation at the hands of the Bridge would activate latent psionic powers in his son Ben, which would end up being a slight problem much later on. Nevertheless, with the help of the Fantastic Four and Nick Fury of S.H.I.E.L.D., Comet Man confronted the Superior, rescued his son, and was forced to flee into space with Max to escape his pursuers and grieve his wife. Now, we'd next see him in follow-up stories within Marvel Comics Presents, where Stephen would return to Earth. He finds his son Ben comatose and living with his sister, Rosemary, who's now married to John Gallagher, the Superior, whose identity, by the way, is still a secret. During this story, we'd see Steven use his thought-pitching ability to enter Ben's mind and awaken him. And upon awakening, Ben identifies his uncle as the Superior. In the final tragic confrontation, it's the young, traumatized Ben, not Steven, who uses his own terrifyingly strong psionic powers to force the Superior to take out his own weapon and take himself out. Now, many years later, we'd see Comet Man's final major appearance in the primary Marvel universe, which itself was brief. His son Ben's powers began to grow unstable, attracting the attention of Captain Marvel, Genis-Vell. And after a brief conflict, Steven convinced Captain Marvel to let him take his son into space, where he could be trained to control his immense and dangerous abilities. His legacy, however, is most famously defined by the dark alternate future of Earth X, aka Earth 9997. In this reality, Ben Beckley grows up to become the psychic tyrant known as the Skull. His mutant power is the ability to psionically override the motor functions of any person near him, controlling them like puppets. In this world, he amasses a massive army of controlled bodies and becomes one of the world's most terrifying villains, with his father Steven appearing as a haunted figure trying to appeal to the monster his son has become. Now, for his powers and abilities and his influence on the Marvel Universe, for my 1 to 10 rating, I'll give the Comet Man a rating of 5, which is an enigmatic rating. I hope everyone enjoyed this video. I'll talk to you next time. Be sure to hype and subscribe to the new Sage.